My philosophy is very simple. It's been transmitted by my mom, and for me, food is an act of love, and the garden is at the very center of this love. In this episode, we will celebrate my favorite vegetable, celeriac. And it's a mighty vegetable. And there's so many hundreds of ways you can actually cook it.
Hello, I'm Kate. I'm here at Le Manoir au Quat Saisons. And I'm here in the vegetable garden. We've got 1 acre of growing land here in our vegetable garden, 4 different sections, and I'm here in the root vegetable section, and I'm going to talk to you about celeriac. So we grow celeriac because it's one of the most versatile vegetables. It's great for eating raw. You can have it in salads, you can mash it into a puree, boil it, steam it, and yeah, it's just got a really unusual, unique taste. Sort of like subtle celery with a bit of a nuttiness to it. You can use every part of it, so you can use the leaves as well as the swollen stem, and yeah, so in stocks and stews, and it really is one of the most versatile vegetables. When you're growing celeriac, you will start it off in February, March time and sow it into trays or into pots. And it can be a bit slow to germinate, so be patient with it, and you need to have it at about 16 to 18 degrees, and that's when it's most happiest. In good conditions, within about 3 to 6 weeks, which is quite a long time, you should have your germination. The next thing you do is you will prick out your seedlings when you get your first true leaves. So when you get your first leaves that look like your parsley and your celery leaves. Once you prick those out, you put them into individual module trays, and then you want to leave those in the module trays for another sort of week or so. So you're looking about a month and a bit between sowing and planting out. So in May time, April, May, that's when you will be planting out your modules and your seedlings. Once your celeriac's in the ground, it does need a bit of attention. It's not one of those just leave it in the ground sort of vegetables. You do need to protect it from rabbits. We have a real issue with rabbits here at Le Manoir, so we do throw over some netting of it as it's getting a bit bigger. It needs a lot of water, so that's one thing that you really do need to do. It does not like its soil to get dry at all, so you want to keep those roots nice and damp, and that helps really with the swelling of the stem, which is your celeriac. Another thing you need to do to care for it is as it grows, the leaves will start to yellow and fall parallel to the ground. You do want to remove those leaves. They could be harbouring pests. It encourages the swelling, and yeah, just you want to stop that rotting from happening. So when it gets to late September, you need your celeriac to be in the ground for at least 6 months really. It has a long period of time where it's in the soil. Late September is when you're to begin harvest. You would do that with a fork. You lift it out of the ground, you'll dust off the soil, and what we do at Le Manoir to prepare is we cut away all of this root matter, and we cut off the top leaves. We do take the leaves to them as well for stocks and soups, and then we'll wash them off to take them clean into the kitchen. Once you've harvested, you can leave them in the ground for a bit longer. So towards November, once you've had the first frost, that can actually encourage really nice flavour. So the frost brings in a real sweetness. So that's really good. Similar to Brussels sprouts, that first frost can really enhance the flavour. You don't want to leave them in the ground for too long, but they do store really well. So you can store them in a cool, dry place for up to 6 to 8 weeks, I believe they store. So that's really good. When you're harvesting, you'll look out for a celeriac that is nice and large. It wants to have nice, healthy foliage, no rot at all, none of those yellowing leaves. You want to keep that nice and clean, and the skin will be nice and smooth. So the variety we've got here is Ibis, and this is a really amazingly flavoured variety. Raymond Blanc actually did a taste trial with all the vegetables on the site here at Le Manoir, but they were put through a taste trial, and Ibis was found to be one of the most flavourful and tasty. It is slightly smaller, but it has got a smoother skin, so it's easier for our chefs to clear it up and clean it up ready for cooking. But yeah, we really do go for taste here rather than beauty. They can be known as the ugly duckling of the vegetable world, but I think they're pretty special. You know your celeriac is ready when you can see it's got nice healthy foliage, it's got a nice bulbous swollen stem there, and it would have been in the ground for at least sort of 6 months. So yeah, that timing is really important. I think celeriac is a really nice vegetable to grow because it's a little bit unusual. There's not a huge amount of work that goes into it. You just have to make sure that you've kept it watered. And it really is so versatile. You can use it in so many different ways, and it's really one to explore in your cooking. It can really encourage you to be a bit more adventurous in what you're cooking in the kitchen, I think. So when we planted our plugs into the ground, our head veg gardener set us the annual celeriac planting race. There was 5 gardeners, we've got 5 beds of celeriac here, and we were racing to plant those 100 plugs in each of these beds, and the prize was the coveted John Driscoll handshake. John Driscoll is our head veg gardener here, so it was quite an exciting day for us gardeners. And Molly, our part-time gardener here, she won and she got the handshake.
Hi, my name is Luke Selby. I'm the executive chef here at Manoir Quat Saisons, and we're going to be cooking a celeriac soup. What I love about celeriac, it's super versatile. We have it growing here in the organic gardens at Manoir, and there's just been a first frost over the last week, so now the quality of the celeriac is just like super amazing at the moment. The first frost kind of really helps develop the flavour, and it really kind of gives it a bit more heat to the celeriac. So it's amazing right this moment in time for really super autumnal dishes. We're going to make a really classic celeriac soup, but the kind of earthiness and those flavours will pair really nicely with hazelnuts and some winter truffle that I'm going to finish the dish with. Celeriac pairs really well with other autumnal kind of flavours. We're going with truffle, hazelnuts, all those kind of rich, comforting flavours, but it is quite rich, so we're going to cut it with a little bit of lemon juice just at the end to help with the richness. We're making the soup with milk and some celeriac juice that we've juiced the celeriacs from the garden. So there's not so much butter and cream, but it's still going to need a little bit of acid to finish. I'd say celeriac is a really easy vegetable to prepare. It just needs a good wash, just trimmed off the root and trimmed off the peel. Be careful not to take too much off it, but you can use the whole thing. We're dicing it and just cooking it, but you can have it in so many different preparations, just raw as a remoulade. The leaves on top as well, don't throw those away. You can save those. What we do in the kitchens in the restaurant, we make a celeriac consommé, and we infuse the celeriac leaf just at the end into the consommé, so it gives it that real hit of fresh celeriac at the end. For our celeriac soup, we're starting with some butter, and we're going to sweat some onions and garlic that I've diced just till they're soft. We're then going to add diced celeriac. We'll put a lid on it, steam everything with a little bit of seasoning just to bring out all the moisture in the onion and the celeriac, and then we're going to hit it with some celeriac juice, which we juiced this morning, and some milk, and then we're just going to cook it out and then blend it. And it's then going to be garnished with some lovely roasted hazelnuts, chopped chives. We'll finish the soup with some lemon, and then it's going to get some amazing truffle grated over the top. We're using truffle just because it pairs really, really well with the celeriac, the same kind of earthy flavours, and it kind of just perfumes the soup at the end. Okay, I've just added the butter. We're melting it down now, and we'll add the garlic and shallot. And then it's just important to season it with a good pinch of salt at this stage, just so the water will start coming out of the shallot and garlic, and it'll help soften it quicker. I'm just waiting for the onions to get translucent and soft and start breaking down before I add the celeriac. want to pop a lid on it. What we want to do is retain the colour, so be careful not to catch it on the bottom. We want the soup to be super white and vivid, and the quicker we cook it, we'll retain all the vitamins and nutrients of the celeriac, but also retain the flavours. I think the celerac's nice and sweated now. I'm going to pop in some celeriac juice that we juiced this morning. They're organic beet celeriacs. I'm just gonna add a little bit, just enough to cover. Instead of using like vegetable stock or anything like that, which you could use, we're using celeriac juice just to keep the intensity of the celeriac flavour and just carry that through the whole dish. So this celeriac juice, we've just put it straight through a juicer. It comes out quite dark, but then I brought it to the boil and it will separate. So when you bring it to the boil, it kind of clarifies itself naturally. And then I've just passed that through a muslin and you get this amazing super clear celeriac juice liquid. So I'm going to add some milk now. The celeriac and the onions, they've all cooked off in the celeriac juice. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of milk in just to bring that kind of creaminess, that richness. We're not putting any cream in, so it's still going to be quite light, but that milk's just going to bring that dairy element to the dish. So when I blend it, it's going to be really velvety. So I've just taken some of the celeriac out, crushed it with the back of a spoon just against the board, just to make sure it is nice and soft. You want it nice and soft for it to blend and you'll get a really nice smooth soup. If the celerac's not quite cooked enough, you'll end up with a grainy soup. So I'm just going to pop this in the blender. I'm just going to finish it with a touch of truffle oil and some lemon juice. So lemon juice just to cut through the richness of the soup. So the soup is nice and thick, super velvety. I'm just going to ladle it into the bowl like so. It's plenty. I'm then going to finish it with just a few roasted hazelnuts. There's a lovely texture and flavour. Some chives just sprinkled over the top. And then just a nice grating of some truffle to make it super decadent. Voila. So here we have our finished soup. So we have an amazing kind of velvetiness to the soup. You can really feel the acidity kind of just kicking in at the end, bring everything into balance. The truffle really rounds everything off, and then you just get these amazing hits of the crunchiness of the hazelnuts, the chives on top as well. All works really, really well.